What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ASE Podcast. I believe we're on episode number 4 here. And today we have a special guest, Coach John Ron. We could say he's a legend in the Monroe area. He's trained hundreds, if not thousands, of high school athletes, many college and professional athletes as well. And I used to work for him, and Coach Anthony used to train with him. So we're super excited to have him on here, have somebody to chat with today. Coach, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate that. I like the legend status. I don't know if I earned that yet. Maybe a few more years, but yeah, missing Monroe, but doing well down here in South Carolina.
Good stuff, man. With us, as always, we got Coach Anthony and Coach Kyle. And three of us are we were thinking we'd chat today a little bit about training athletes, of course. That's Coach JR's specialty. So high school athletes, middle school athletes, going up to college and professional level. And how do we want to start things off? Coach JR, you want to give us maybe a little background of your career and we'll kind of roll from there?
So I once I graduated college, I got a job with Homeland Security. I was a federal agent till about 2013. In that time span, I was kind of building a pretty sweet garage gym setup, and I was fortunate enough to have a handful of local high school athletes back in the Monroe area work with me. So that grew, and I left being a federal agent, opened up Believe. So I pretty much started Believe in like 2011 and still have it, still doing it. Got the LLC down here now too. But grew the business from small garage to probably an even smaller size-wise storefront, but the exposure was great. It was in an awesome location. I mean, throwing it back, it was right next to Mr. Cone for anybody who lives in Monroe, which wish that place was still around.
Yeah, prime location.
Prime. It was very good, even though it literally was probably smaller than the garage I was in. Mm-hmm. And then I had access like you guys still to the outdoor space as well, which was sweet, because I had kids that, training outside. And then I moved over to the location that you guys are at now. And I was there for, I had Believe for 12 years in Monroe. So
long run, man.
Yeah, it expanded. Yeah, it was a long run. It was a great run and roller coaster.
Yeah.
But a great one, man. I miss it every day. I always look back on the memories, and even talking to athletes that trained with me years ago. Ant obviously is one of them. Guys kind of reminisce, and it's cool because like the older these athletes are now, like Ant's a man, you look back on it and you're like, well, I mean, they look back on it and they're like, dude, you were really hitting us with some good stuff, so that always warms my heart.
Yeah, man, that's great to hear. That's the best stuff when somebody comes back and tells you changed their life or like had a huge impact on them. It's like, that's why you're in the game, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, even Anthony, I know he's obviously part of your team now, but having an athlete for years and then you see them doing what we were doing, like they kind of went into the career path. That to me is like, the utmost, like, dude, you made me love this.
Yeah.
And that to me is awesome,
That's it. I know you got something to say, Coach. Throw it out there.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the absolute best part is, being able to inspire, and what you did in Monroe, just the way people still speak about you so highly, you motivated and inspired so many people, including myself, to, just improve, whether it be from an athletic standpoint or, lifestyle wise, or, setting goals in your career or with education and stuff like that. You really, when your face is out there in the community, you have an opportunity to make a big impact. And I think that was pretty awesome. I was just telling these guys earlier that I remember my first workout with you. It was a one-on-one before I joined the group with the other football guys. And I had worked out before, but it was just you and I, and we weren't doing anything crazy. It was like we put like 65, 75 pounds on the bar for RDLs. We were doing body weight lunges and lateral band walks, and just the attention to detail, the focus. I walked out of there that day being like, oh, this is how you do it. This is like really what it takes to kind of elevate yourself to the next level, as opposed to just working out. And, we had some good talks, got inspired, like I said, and it was really just a special experience. Made me really appreciate what you were doing for people.
I appreciate you saying that, man. I remember that session. I remember you coming in with your dad, and we were talking about what your goals were for football and everything. So I remember a lot of the OG, first time sessions where you kind of get a feel for the athlete and if they're gonna make it. And I
Yeah.
say that nicely because like it's a privilege to work out with you guys.
Mm.
And just like it was a privilege to be in my facility. Um, I don't think we owe people because we give so much value that when you meet a kid or you meet an athlete, it's like, are you ready to experience me?
Mm.
Or are you ready to experience you guys? Because you know what you give.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing when you meet like the parents and stuff. I could tell like Coach Rob, like you meet an athlete and his dad, let's say, and he's like, well, he's got baseball like all year round, and he's gonna do this, 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 and this. So he'll come to you like once a week.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You're giving me that hour once a week. I can change your kid's life in 3 hours a
Mhm.
week
Yeah.
for 6 months. Just let me do what I need to do.
Yeah.
And that was part of the evolution of the business too, because I only started with private clients. Like that's how I built the garage gym. It was one-on-ones only.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what happened was people started to see dudes and female athletes like change.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had parents calling me and they're like, what are you doing with that kid? And it was just like, we're building a relationship of trust and that kid. And I was very blessed with the athletes that I had very early on in my garage. And I hate to say it this way, but it was kind of this way. They were like robots.
Mm.
So if I told them, hey, you got to eat this, you got to do this is how we train. You're coming to me 2 to 3 times a week. Like the progress and the consistency got them results that none of their friends were getting. And to Ant's point, I wasn't reinventing the wheel, dude.
Mhm.
Like exercises are exercises. If they're done correctly, they are impactful and they work. But I think the angle I was hitting, which most coaches were not, was the nutritional piece.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's huge.
Very early on. And I did that because I never got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was super frustrating as an athlete, being, playing a college sport and then leaving college and getting into the best shape of my life because I changed my nutrition and I learned how to do it. That to me, I was like, this is the game changer.
Huge. It's a game changer.
So
Yeah.
I will teach that as much as I teach how to elbow position on a push-up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. It's amazing that they all listened and did it though. Like I feel like that's the bigger thing. Some of them, like they'll say they'll do it and you're checking in and you're like, yeah, you're not doing what I said. Like, yeah.
I know. I got so lucky, man. I mean, again, it was like 3 or 4 athletes that really just like
Mm.
bought in full throttle. And before I knew
Accountable.
it, like when I grew out of the garage, I had 18 clients.
Amazing.
And then the
That's-
18 went to, by the time I left the Mr. Cohn location, it was 76.
Yep. That's it. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, so the growth was crazy, but I also worked like a dog, like you guys.
Yeah. Do you still have that poster that everybody signed that would come in, or not the banner? Yeah.
Yeah, I have the banner.
That was always fun to look at, see who was on there, and see what they were able to do.
Yeah, man.
I remember that
Got some
banner.
studs on that banner, man.
Yeah. So there was the nutrition piece, and then something I really benefited from myself was you did a lot of work with just teaching us about sports psychology, and we have the book The Champion's Mind is sitting on the table. That's one of my favorite things that you introduced me to, is just how to conduct yourself, how to conduct your habits and your self-talk and all that. I thought that was super impactful. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure,
yeah.
man. I could talk about that for a whole week.
Same.
No, so that book, I tell athletes and I tell their parents, most importantly, like that's like an athlete's Bible, second to the Bible.
Yeah.
That thing should be read by every athlete. And what's funny about that is that book was introduced to me by an athlete. Shout out to Ryan Rodriguez, who was an exceptional golfer, literally was golfer of the year from Cornwall High School for 3 years. I trained him when he was in high school, and he got golfer of the year again. That kid put me onto that book, and then me and him really delved into the mindset stuff so hard that I still have the picture in my phone. He went home one night after him and I were talking, and he rearranged his whole bedroom and had one wall that was his vision wall.
Mm-hmm.
And he
That's
sent
sick.
me a picture of it, and he just said, "Yo, locked in, basically." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Jesus, this kid's different."
He was fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was also a motivator to me. And that's also what I think that a lot of athletes don't understand is how much they motivate us as coaches.
Totally.
Mhm.
Like you get a kid that does that, dude, like you're just like, all right, he's hearing me, like we got this. And then it's just
Yeah.
like, wheels up. We're gonna go get everything that this guy put on that wall, you know?
Mm.
The sports psychology to me and the mindset stuff, man. I mean, I just feel like I went through it. I went through some aches and pains as a high school and college athlete, and just learning from those mistakes and learning from those things, even if they weren't mistakes, I just always tried to relay that back to my athletes. And that's honestly where like the outwork everyone mindset came from. But I still to this day think people look at that and hear outwork everyone and they think it's just like with working out,
Mm.
and it's not. It's outwork everyone in the kitchen, outwork everybody with your sleep, your recovery, your mindset work. Obviously the training is important, but outwork everybody in practice, outwork everybody with your habits.
Yeah.
24/7.
Your mindset.
Yeah, and I think that's what builds such a strong mindset. And Ant, you were part of some great groups, and we had a lot of fun. But you started to see like some guys took that stuff and like really ramped it up. I mean, you were one of them, you
Yeah.
ramped it up and you bought in and you took stuff to another level. And other guys took stuff to their levels. And I think there's that athletic potential and that athleticism of some where if they really take it, they blow up,
Mhm.
and then other guys, my whole thing is let's maximize your athletic potential. Like if you're not a D1 guy, that's fine.
Mm.
You can still be a nasty D2 guy, a nasty D3 girl. Like you don't have to be this D1 full ride, which people have no freaking clue about that either, because that's not that easy to do. And not many people get those free rides.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people need to do a little more research on that. Like these 8-year-old the kids that are 8 years old and you can get a full ride. It's like,
Yeah,
He's
chill.
a champion
Next up.
already. Yeah.
Trust me, he's next up.
Yep.
Yeah, like come on, dude. But yeah, I think the piece that I always tried to do was just coach with a lot of sincerity and genuineness, and help you guys just believe that you really could get and do whatever you want. And I said that honestly because I was doing it with my business.
Mhm.
The business for me, Believe Elite, is a passion.
Mhm.
I left a great career with the U.S. government, man. Like I'd be retired in three years, sitting
Yep.
pretty. When
Yep.
I left that, guys that I worked with were like, dude, what are you doing? Like you're 25, you're a federal agent. Like, why are you leaving? But I did it because I was like, yo, I can coach, man. I know I can coach. I can impact lives. And like I said before, my athletes that I had were inspiring me, and I met so many more athletes and coaches that inspired me to, keep pushing. So the mindset for athletes was me developing my own mindset to not stop. And that's what I just kept portraying on to you guys. Like I would listen to YouTube videos at 3 o'clock in the morning. And if you were my 8 a.m. session, I was making you watch them.
Yep. All the time. All the time. Yeah. We got some lectures. We got, pieces of books that you would read to us, and man, but we would always have something to take away. And I feel like that was, in a lot of ways, even bigger than the weight training. Like you said, you could keep it basic with the weight training. You didn't have to do nothing crazy, but having something to take away from the session and really chew on and think about it as we were going through that session, that was something special.
Yeah. And the thing with the mindset stuff, it made you guys push for more sets.
Mhm.
I'll never forget, like, yo, we're doing 10 sets of lunges today. out in the back.
Yeah.
And then you'd have a dude who'd be like, I'm going to do another one. And then he'd just keep going.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yo, your time's up, man. I got other people coming in.
Yeah.
But it was that mindset, like, yo, I want
I'm
more.
gonna push one more. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you develop that in an athlete, dude, and they bring it to practice and then their teammates see it.
Yeah.
And we know high school athletes, middle school athletes, they'll be, why are you doing so much? Why are you trying so hard? Shit, even college athletes say it. But you know what? Those athletes that try hard, everybody knows their name.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The ones you want.
Those are the ones you want. Those are and I got the board right behind me, man. Those are the 1%ers.
Yep.
You know? And it's built through daily, consistent, discipline habits, which everybody hears that all the time, especially on social media now. But it's the execution.
I was
Like,
about to say, but nobody executes on them. People hear it
Yeah.
all the time, but how many
you
people
hear it
execute
all the
on
time,
it?
bro? You hear it all the time.
Not
But
nearly, yeah, 1% execute on it. Maybe less than 1%. It probably is less than 1%.
it is. It is less than 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you get those higher levels.
Yep.
Because those guys and girls that are pro athletes, different.
Yeah. We were just talking a few minutes before this started, and to your point from before of like, not everybody is that D1 guy, full ride professional athlete, but like when you take yourself serious as an athlete, when you enjoy practice, when you enjoy training, and when you put your all into it, it makes it so much more fun to compete. And it makes it so much more motivating when you step in there and you're like, all right, I've taken care of everything I needed to take care of, my training, my nutrition, my sleep. And then we have a boxer that he's fighting tonight. And it's just, he said, I'm ready to go for as many rounds as my opponent wants to. And I was like, hell yeah, man. Like, let's get after it. Like we've done the preparation. Now it's fun time. And whether, when you've done the work, then competing just becomes like, where you can enjoy yourself and express yourself and really get something different out of it, as opposed to being, I used to be anxious all the time that I would make mistakes and that I would lose. When you're prepared and you do the right stuff, you don't get anxious as much anymore. And maybe you get a little bit of like that good anxiety that, that's your body telling you, all right, time to go. But it's not like, what if I mess this up, man? No, I took care of everything. All right. Now it's time to go do what I love. And that's when people could really settle into who they are as an athlete without thinking that they have to be this, I have to go pro or else I'm not worth anything, or I have to get a full ride scholarship. Be who you are, go out there and have fun. Take care of business.
That's exactly what it is, and I have a handful of college athletes now, and I'm still working with some fighters and stuff, and it is, outwork everyone just means you out prepared.
Yeah.
And if you out prepare people, to your point, basketball is supposed to be fun. Football is supposed to be, it's a game.
Yeah.
When you talk to a high school athlete, you talk to a college athlete, it's like, you only got 4 years of this. You better enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to love the process, but when you step in between the lines, it's a game. If you make the outside the lines real, like, I'm going to prepare. I tell athletes all the time, like, everybody wants to train like JJ Watt and they want to beat Tom Brady, but no one looks into what those guys did from a nutrition standpoint. They just watch JJ Watt flip 1,000-pound tire 60 plus times. Dude's a freak. Why don't you look at some of the things that got him to play at Wisconsin, got him to get to the league? Like, that's where I feel like I feel like there's an injustice to the actual process that doesn't get displayed enough for youth athletes, like Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
Everybody, Mamba mentality. Dude, you do not have
don't even
a
know what that
Mamba
means.
mentality, bro.
Yeah.
You have no freaking clue. That dude was different. And can you build it? I believe you can. I believe
Definitely.
anybody can really build that mindset. But dude, it takes a lot of work. And you know what it takes? Silence and alone time.
Yeah.
Shit that
Focus.
like Coach Rob, me and you back in the day, we had flip phones and these bullshit things that now it's like, that's why the mindset stuff is so crazy now, because it's hard to get athletes to get into that mindful status of just quiet, You know what I mean?
Distractions
Like
are everywhere.
Yeah.
everywhere,
Always.
man. Instant gratification on your phone. Like I'm training a couple college athletes right now, and their strength coach has their strength program on an app on their phone.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, you're on the phone all the time. Get rid of the phone. Yeah.
Because you know what's happening. Oh, let me put my 4 sets of 10 in. Oh, I got a notification
Got a
on
text,
Instagram.
got
Let me
this.
check
Yep.
that quick. And it's
Mhm.
like, yo, I just lost you. And you know what
Mhm.
sucks about that is you could have just dominated that set of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, within 5 seconds, like, yo, put more weight on the bar. Or let me go check that notification.
Yep.
And then you like forget about adding more weight and you're not locked in anymore.
That's
You know,
it.
like that stuff frustrates me to hear that and see that. But, you know, the mentality stuff, I think it, like I said before, I do think it can be built and delivered. It just has to be the right coaches and the right way of portraying it. Like that Champion's Mind book, right? There's a whole chapter on visualization.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, visualization is super hard.
Powerful tool.
Very hard.
Unbelievable tool, bro. Unbelievable.
If you could
tool.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Very hard to build because you have to like really see it and then you have to believe it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So, I
And
mean,
live it.
listen, yeah, and live it.
You got to live
Exactly.
it deep down every
Yep.
day.
Yeah. And I always encouraged athletes, and I don't, you probably remember this, but you know, if you don't, here it is. I always encourage guys to wake up early because in those morning hours, nobody's awake, nobody's bothering you on your phone. So if you took that extra 1 hour a day, right, and you were able to, that's 7 extra hours a week, you keep doing that math. It's like, yo, you just built an extra day in your calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, and like one of my favorite quotes is the beggar and the billionaire have the same 24 hours. So when people are like questioning Tom Brady and all this stuff, it's like, you know what that guy does with his day?
Mm. So efficient.
Prioritize the end goal
Yeah.
and what's going to get him there. And to your point, a D1, D2, D3, they can all prepare the same way, right? They could all take that time and then be ultimately prepared to be on the biggest stages. I was just very fortunate to have a lot of athletes. And looking back on it, I did have a lot of athletes that outperformed when they were asked. And I look back on that, and that's where, you know, I'll pat myself on the back slightly as I was a piece to that puzzle that helped them prepare.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's our job as coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your piece.
Just have your athlete overly prepared,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
You know, at the end of the day, I feel like the athlete is going to be accountable for their own success. You know, you could push them in the right direction. The one thing we can't do is want it more than they do, you know? So that part, you know, we've all had, I'm sure, had athletes come to us that think they have that Mamba mentality, but it's like, hey, you're not really 100% there. You know, I cannot want this more than you do.
That's the
But
most frustrating thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. What something you said just reminded me of something. So I heard this saying I'd never heard before, signal to noise ratio. They were actually talking about Tim Cook. No, it was Apple guy before Tim Cook founded Apple.
Oh,
Can't think of his name.
Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Yeah, yeah. So they were saying like his signal to noise ratio was so good. Like, first of all, the whole world, there's so much noise in general. So like when you're trying to focus in on something, you need to be able to find the most important signals and dial into those and like keep your mindset on that the whole time. This guy just brought up like Elon Musk. He's like, Elon Musk has the best signal to noise ratio of anybody I've ever seen. He's like, that guy ignores all noise and only dials into the signals. But like this is what I'm thinking about for athletes. Like there's so much noise out there. Can you dial into the signals and hear the signals and time things right and wake up early? Like you just said, you wake up early, you get that hour where you're just thinking about, all right, what does my day need to look like? What am I going to eat today? When am I going to eat? When's my practice? When am I studying? Like if you could get the signal to noise ratio right, if you could listen to the right signals, then you'll dial in and you'll go down the right path. And the sooner you can get better at filtering out the noise, the sooner you'll hear the right signal and you'll be who you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of us are really bad at that. And the people who are most efficient in the world are the ones who are better at catching signals versus, you know, everybody talks to you and tells you stuff and they think a lot of things are important, but usually there's a lot of fluff and there's only a couple key pieces to what they're saying that's important. And it's very hard for all of us to like, all right, where's the signal in this that I need to act on?
To that point, dude, that's where social media is like a double-edged sword because there's some great stuff on social media, but then there's also like
Yep.
Random influencer who's like 19 years old who like,
Doesn't
it's
know what
like
to
Some of
talk
the
about.
worst garbage.
Oh my God.
yeah,
Yep.
and that's why I say with the training stuff, I don't reinvent the wheel, man. The basics work, dude. You
Yep.
know, there's obviously it's evolved,
Yep.
but a squat's a squat, dude. A hip hinge is a hip hinge, and a chin up is a chin up.
Yep.
You know, that's I still live by that, and I have athletes now where like if I and to your point, like when I get them for like their first couple sessions, I'm like, yo, we're keeping it basic today. We're doing push-ups. And we're gonna do some pull-ups. If you're not good at pull-ups, I'll get a band. We'll do some assisted pull-ups, but you're gonna learn how to do the move, full range of motion. Dude, every time I do those workouts, 2, 3 days later, they're like, yo, I can't extend my arms.
Smoke.
I'm
Smoke.
like,
Yeah.
you're welcome, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how many
Like-
of them actually go full range of motion and have those moves too? If they're doing it on their own, it's like
Oh, if they're doing it on their own,
quarter
they're not even
pull-ups.
Yeah.
they're not even doing them, man, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
such a hard move, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that noise cancellation aspect. And what's funny is like Elon Musk is what, the richest dude in the world?
Dude, he runs like 5, 6 businesses. Like it's just insane to think about. Like how could you just the level of 6 businesses that are that big, that large, doing that scale of projects? You're like, I can't even, it blows my mind to even imagine doing something like that. Like
What's
Yeah.
also funny though is that the guy that brought this up, what'd you say it was Steve Jobs?
no, he was talking about Steve Jobs. I think it was oh man, it was one of those guys. What's a show where people come on and they pitch ideas to
Shark
them?
Tank?
Shark Tank. It's one of the Shark Tank guys.
Mark Cuban,
Nope, not him. Other guy.
Kevin O'Leary.
Yep, O'Leary. Oh, it was
Yeah.
O'Leary. Yeah, it was
Mr.
O'Leary.
Wonderful.
Yep. It was that guy. He was talking about Steve Jobs and then he brought up Elon Musk. Yeah, yeah.
That's another savage right there, Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah, yeah.
Is-
Well, that's for
In
him to be
business.
talking about them in that way
Yeah.
too. He's like, that's one of the things he learned from Steve Jobs. He was like, this guy's signal to noise ratio was unreal. He's like, and then I look at Elon Musk and he's like 100%. He only hears the signal. He hears no noise. And I was like, that explains how he can run companies like that, you know?
Mhm.
How he can operate at that level.
He built a car that could drive itself.
Yeah, exactly right. That's it. Yep.
Do you have any favorite success stories?
Ooh, I got a lot, bro. I mean, biggest success story, for me, I would say as far as like training an athlete was really like training Vincent Vespa, who just battled cancer and beat it. He was the first client I ever trained.
Nice.
So went through that whole battle with him in the hospital, watched him chemo and all his treatments, and Vin's like my brother, so like
Yeah.
he's been down to visit a handful of times already. I mean, the love I have for that kid is like unmatched, because he also inspired me, man. Like to watch a young kid battle cancer, that was
intense.
my push. Yeah, that was my push to hand in my letter of resignation and start Believe, to be honest, because I watched him do it. And, his whole thing was when he got diagnosed, he's like, yo, I'm wrestling next season. Nothing changed his mindset with that. And that to me was just like the perseverance, that resilience. I just started to question, because that whole atmosphere was crazy, man. You go into one of those facilities and you see, like, he was 14 years old. There were kids that were like 3.
Oh man.
Dealing with all that. So you see how like precious life is, and and I just had such a joy of training him. Like it was literally all I looked forward to all week when I was at work. Like I would arrest, I'll never forget like making like 6 or 8 arrests in one day, driving 100 miles, getting back to the office. Like as soon as I got back, getting my stuff together, jetting home, and I had him at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon to train. And that's what I look forward to. The other stuff was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
The handcuffs, we'll go. I'll process these guys and fingerprint them and all that shit. But I always looked forward to being around him. And, when we battled that disease and he went through it, I was just like, you know what, I gotta make this leap, and I know it's the right move, and it just worked out. So that's like the ultimate success story.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's massive. I mean,
Because it built the business, it built the business, it built the brand. Like Believe was something I used to tell him, man.
yeah.
Like believe in yourself and believe you're gonna beat this. And it evolved, like I got his cancer t-shirt hanging in my garage. It's right behind me right now. He took the word believe and asked the guys at Forever Fierce to put it on his cancer t-shirt that people bought. as like a donation for
Yeah.
him. So, he has just as big a hand in this process as me. But yeah, that'll always be my ultimate one. And again, it just came with the growth of it too. So like that story led to a garage, led to a storefront, led to a bigger storefront, led
Right.
to
Yeah.
college coaching, led to training professional athletes, led
Hmm.
to training guys that were in the Olympics, So, I mean, I think the whole thing to me is pretty much a
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
There's definitely athletes that I could talk about, Ant's one of them. Just seeing guys, the growth of an athlete and the maturity, is also super success. I mean, and I was just so blessed to have Coach Rob, to your point. I mean, it was thousands of athletes that I had the opportunity to be in front of,
Yeah.
for those 12 years. So
Hmm.
I could give you probably at least 150 to 200 names if I had a pen and paper
Yeah.
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
just sheer success, and not even athletic success, just success kind of in life.
Yeah. Growing to be good men and women too. Like that's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big part of it. I mean, that's a huge part of it. You want to see them grow up to be good, responsible men and women who are doing good things, making the world better, whether it's athletics or not. Like
Absolutely.
that's what we want to see happen.
100%, man. Guys are cops now. Guys are, doing things where it's just like the stuff that we did and we worked on is going to help you there too,
Yep.
especially the mindset stuff. So,
Awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Same. Well, I think
I mean, it was I won't lie, it's pretty freaking cool watching a couple of your guys on ESPN dominate somebody in an
Oh, yeah.
that's awesome too.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Who wouldn't love that?
Hell yeah.
What else? I mean, I know we wanted to kind of get into programming a little bit. I know you talked a little bit about basics, but Coach, do you have any
I'll
questions
say
on that? I know you
what-
got some thoughts there.
What would you say the biggest difference between someone that makes it to the next level in athletics? What's the biggest mindset difference between someone that makes it far and kind of fades out as that college time comes around? When they first walk into the gym, what do you see?
Most of the pro athletes that I've been around that were actually successful at the pro level, because just because you're a pro doesn't mean you're
Right.
going to be successful there, was just an obsession.
Mhm.
It was like an obsession with the preparation, like Shane Burgos, for instance. When I trained Shane, and we were doing weight cuts, because I trained him for 9 UFC fights and 1 PFL fight. So when we started really digging into weight cuts and he trusted me to do weight cuts, his first weight cut that he and I did together, where I kind of managed the whole thing, was right before he fought Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson, Hall of Fame UFC fighter. Like Shane used to like look up to this guy.
Mm.
I'll never forget. He was like texting me like, "Hey, how many almonds am I allowed to have?"
He's in. Yeah. He's dialed
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Then he wants to know. Yeah.
And it was just that's what it was. It was just that obsession where like I can't get this wrong.
Every detail.
Every detail mattered. Every detail, and it wasn't just in like what are we lifting today, or it was every detail from that nutrition standpoint. And again, unique because those guys got to manage their weight.
Yeah.
You get a pro, like I got a pro basketball player. We're still doing nutrition, but he's not worried about stepping on a scale.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, every detail for those athletes that get to those higher levels. And again, I was fortunate enough to help Shane get to the top 9 in the world in his weight class. It became something where he was just like he knew that I knew what I was doing, and together he and I could, really blow it up. But I think it was just that obsession,
Mhm.
And now that's a double-edged sword too, though, because then you start running into guys that overtrain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was something that, maybe the boxer that you guys started with probably overtrained, because all they want to do is go hit the bag, spar, and do all this other
Right.
crazy shit where you're like, dude, you got to slow down, man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think
Nutrition's
that
big too.
huge, I think those guys get there because they're obsessed, and then they find coaches that will keep them healthy,
Right.
Yeah.
mentally, physically, stress management, I finished the certification recently with Precision Nutrition, the sleep and stress management one.
Nice. I'm working on that one too. Yeah.
Dude, so many people don't sleep well enough. There's so many things that just really go into let's do it right, and I think that's where like when you start to educate yourself and you try to bring that into those higher levels, those guys buy in because it only takes them a little bit of time to say like, oh, this works.
Mhm.
And I feel the difference. And that's where like some of those tracking devices, like the Whoops and things like that, those are for those people.
Yeah.
Those are for people that are like, I need to know, am I getting enough sleep? Am I, you know? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, the biggest difference is that obsession, but it's the obsession with everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Can't just be
Absolutely.
the fight. Can't just be the training. It's gotta, the sleep I feel like is one of the biggest things. Like how many high school, I remember me in high school, I'd always stay up late. I'd be on like AOL Instant Messenger. I don't know, you guys might not know what that is, but all of a sudden it's 11, 12 o'clock, man. And I'm like, oh, I got to go to bed. And then I wake up like 5 hours and change of sleep. It's like that alone would have made such a big impact on like
Shooting yourself in the
athletics.
foot.
Yeah,
I did
totally.
the same thing.
Totally. Yeah.
I did.
That's
We all
right.
did.
Yeah.
You
we
know,
all
and
did.
it sucks because you look back on it, you're like, what a dumbass.
Yeah,
Missed some
exactly right.
opportunities,
But no one told you that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Cool. You're gonna tell me what to eat for
Yeah. What
breakfast?
do I
Or should
eat? Yeah,
just
exactly right.
smash pancakes,
Yeah.
which is what me and my buddies would do before practice on a Saturday morning.
Mhm.
We didn't know,
Yeah.
but we got breakfast in, and then you feel like absolute garbage,
Yep.
So it's just all of it, you know.
Mhm.
And that's where like my coaching evolved too, because I had to really stand my ground with some of these pro guys and just kind of say like, you're not right, dude.
Yeah.
Like this
Sorry.
is right.
No.
Yeah, look at your Whoop score. You're constantly in the red. You can't train 2-3 hours at your facility for MMA and wrestling and all that, and then come up to our facility and you're in the red and think that I'm just going to bag you
Yeah.
and put you back in the red even more, especially when we're in a fight camp.
Yeah.
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 It's more detrimental. That's going to raise your cortisol levels and that's going to screw up your weight.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's going to turn into a freaking
It's all going to snowball.
Yeah. Downward
Yeah.
spiral.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where like the evolution for me really, and I took a lot of pride in knowing my stuff, especially from a nutrition standpoint before I even got with pro athletes,
Mhm.
because I took the coursework. I was my own guinea pig. I tried a bunch of different things.
I love that. We talked about that last episode, like self-experimentation, like for coaches especially. But I think it also comes into play with your athletes. Like they got to learn what works for them, but you have to be disciplined enough to try some things that aren't stupid and, figure out what gets your nutrition dialed, what makes you feel best when you're fighting, what makes you feel best when you're competing.
100%, dude. And even when I do consultations and I talk to people about my nutritional services,
Mhm.
I do say this is kind of like an experiment early on.
Yeah.
Because you got to execute the plan that I'm devising for you, but we also got to see if it fits your day, if it fits your training, if it fits, you know what I mean?
Your
Like
digestive system, your whatever. Like there's so
Yeah.
many variables.
100%, dude. And I just had an athlete today came in. He just started nutrition. He's 2 weeks in. He's dropped 4 pounds. I looked at his MyFitnessPal app, and he's shortchanging himself anywhere from 600 to 1,000 calories a day. I'm like, bro,
Oh man.
you're doing a good job of tracking,
Yeah.
and you're getting your protein. But I'm like, you're cutting yourself way too short here.
Yeah.
But it's 2 weeks in, so let's just keep it rolling. You're doing good, and we'll work through it. But that's why I do 6 months of nutrition coaching and that's my only package.
Yeah.
Because same thing with guys with fight camp. Like I had a fighter hit me up the other day. He's got 5.5 weeks to cut weight to get into a fight. I didn't want to work with him, to be
I'm sure.
honest. I had another fighter of mine who told me about him. So I just sent him what it would be, like price wise. And he's like, nah, I can't do it. And I was like, good.
Yeah.
Because
Good.
because it's going to take me 3 or 4 weeks to know your body.
Yeah. It's not enough time. That's yeah. It's like the kids who come in at the summer and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to college in 2 months. I need to know all this lifting." You're like, "Thanks. This is going to be fun."
Yeah,
No.
it's like what, And then they tell you that they can only come once or twice a week.
Yeah. That's even better.
It's like, why don't we sit down and actually read your packet together?
Yeah.
And I'll just explain to you what an RDL actually means.
Yeah, exactly right.
I mean, these conversations.
Yeah. Can you give what would be, I'm going to say, the low-hanging fruit? What's an actionable piece of advice? Say you have a 16-year-old athlete who's at a healthy body fat for their sport, but hasn't really focused on their nutrition all that much. What would be like one of the first actionable pieces of advice that you would give or you want them to take away?
Like from a nutrition standpoint?
Yeah.
I would probably say the low-hanging fruit, just because it's there, is just starting to use their hand as like portion guide. Make them aware, like, hey, your protein, your POM, your carbs, your fat, and then let them start to like analyze their plate. Because to answer that question, that kid's not eating enough calories anyway. So when you start bringing that stuff into his life of like, hey, what's your plate look like? At least now you're introducing him to, is there a protein on my plate?
Yeah.
Is there a carb on my plate? Then you could start to evolve into, well, what kind of protein are you getting in? Is it lean or is it, awful? What's your carbs look like? Is it all sugary carbs, or you got your complex? Like, it can evolve to that, but I just think like making them aware, because if they can't do that, then
Yep. What do we do?
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start, creating some awareness.
yeah, and especially with a kid like that, what'd you say, 19, body fat's decent?
Yeah, like healthy body fat for their age and their sport, just hasn't really gotten in the gym too much yet, hasn't really focused on their diet yet. They're looking to get started.
Fruits and veggies unlimited for that kid, and start to realize that you need protein and carbs pretty much every meal.
Mm-hmm. And most likely more of them.
100% more of them, but I would say tell that kid 5 meals a day and kind of send him on his way. Give him a couple weeks to do it, see if he's real consistent, and then you can start to implement other little things.
Yeah. We got a few kids that are nailing it right now that are at the high school level and they're really starting to bulk up. So I think, just anything, they're looking to pick up any piece of information that could help them, push themselves a little bit further.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're looking to bulk up, dude, the one thing I always recommend for guys like that, because most high school athletes, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of them are just hard gainers, long, lean, metabolism's through the roof.
Yep.
You need high calorie food. So like, a bagel and peanut butter for that kid isn't terrible. You take a kid who's got to lose 50 pounds. Yeah, dude, get out of the bagel aisle, but the kid who's a hard gainer, it's stuff like that, where it's like, yo, bagel and PB with a glass of milk before you go to bed, dude. Trail mix, dried fruit, stuff where it's just like, they could be walking in the hallway and eat that going to class,
That's exactly what I did.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I used to tell you guys, like, I used to have guys eating grilled chicken sandwiches in between classes on the toilet. That's where some guys were just
calories in.
that crazy,
Yeah.
But it is like it's more frequency for kids like that. Like, get more food in, not like, because half of high school guys, like you said, Rob, don't eat breakfast.
No.
Wait till lunch. Then if I got
Cookie for
practice
lunch.
after school, like they're. Let's say the average high school kid needs to get in 3,000 calories a day. They're not getting anywhere near that.
No.
So it's really just the frequency. And, if you make it simple with those snacks, especially, home run, because what else are they going to eat? A bag. I got high school guys that eat bags of goldfish. I'm like, bro, that's like the snack that smiles back. Give that to a kindergartner, bro. Chill.
That's how I was eating before I met you. Before we kind of had that nutrition talk, and you're like, get that garbage out of there. It was like, just replace it with something better, Yeah.
I like the awareness thing you said with that. Oh, sorry. Just, you got me thinking, because like we do definitely have those hard gainer kids, but we got a couple who are like, they need to drop down a little bit, get a little bit leaner. Like, I don't think you should be a high school athlete and over 20% body fat. It's like, you should be 15%, maybe less, depending on your sport. And it's like, be aware of what you're eating. Don't eat out all the time. Yeah, and get those nutrient dense foods in.
Yeah, don't have your Starbucks milkshake that you think is a coffee.
That's actually perfect for this kid. Hopefully he'll catch that, because I'm pretty sure he told me it has like a 600 calorie Starbucks beverage. I'm like, bro, like, come on, get that out of here. Like, what are you doing?
You know how much that costs, dude? That probably costs $8.
That's what I'm saying. So
A
waste
day.
the money.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I can get you a nice quality whey protein for that, $60 to $80 a month you're spending. And you're going to get 40 meals out of the whey protein jug.
Yeah.
Put it in your Folgers.
Yeah. There you
Be
go.
the best part of waking up. Nice little protein coffee.
Protein coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a habit. Dude, I had a kid who, I'll never forget this consultation. Mom was like, yeah, he drinks 12 Pepsis a day.
Oh my God.
Wow.
He's on a fast track to not living that long.
For real. Diabetes in a few
Yeah.
weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. But again, like, it's crazy. Some of these athletes have these habits,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it's not, it's not easy for them to break it. So it's like coaches like us where you got to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the way you hold a kid like that accountable is like, dude, what's your goal?
Yeah.
If
What's
you're
the
telling
goal?
me you want to be a state champ, or you want to be, 1,000-point scorer, or you want to, have a race where you're running a certain time, or crush your events.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to happen if you're doing it that way.
That's it.
You know,
What do people that do that do? Do they have 12 Pepsis a day? Probably not.
right? No.
Yeah. Probably not. Yeah. That's it.
Probably have 12 waters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely have 12
Yeah.
waters.
And it's a perfect example too of like a low hanging fruit.
Hydration.
Drink more water, dude. Like, if we can't drink water, we need to reassess life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Kids will be like, yeah, I stay hydrated. How many cups of water do you have a day? Like 4. What?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you're not even close. You're not even half.
Yeah.
You're not even halfway there yet. Like, we need to triple that.
Yeah. Especially when, kids come to train, we always ask them, before we get started with the warm up, before we get started with the session, it's like, did you have breakfast today? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I had this, and that. How much water did you drink throughout the school day?
Yeah.
And it's like, I had 1 bottle,
Yeah.
Yeah.
16 ounces.
16 ounce
I'm like, dude,
It's
they don't,
4 o'clock.
what is it? A 2% decrease in hydration leads to like a significant
Yep.
decrease in
Performance.
brain function and performance. Like,
Muscle loss. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you have less muscle when you have less water. Muscle's made of water.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
That was something that really helped me was, pounding the water and really taking that, or just only drinking water. Cause I was never, never drank sodas or anything like that.
Mhm.
Just hitting the water hard makes you feel good, perform better.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many athletes I had back in the old facility out back doing workouts. And when push came to shove and they couldn't get through, even if it was just body weight walking lunges, I'll never forget this one. Kid was getting dizzy. And I'm like, dude, go inside. You're done.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to let you keep going.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I got such a bad headache. It's blurry. I'm like, how much water do you drink? And to Ant saying, yeah, 1 bottle.
Yeah.
Well, you're dehydrated, dude. We
You just
can't-
sweat out that whole bottle right there. Yep. That's
Yeah,
it.
we can't
Yeah.
navigate that. Like, get some water, and that's
Yeah.
the misconception too. It's like, yo, give me a banana, I'm cramping up, or
Mustard.
Let me pound this bottle of water now. It doesn't work like that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too late. You're already behind.
Yeah.
Days
exactly.
in advance.
Yeah.
Days
Oh,
in
yeah.
advance. Yeah, that's why, like, if especially for high school athletes, if people are going to judge you for walking around with a big jug or a gallon, forget about them, man. It's, walk around with a gallon of water if that's what gets you to drink enough water during the day. You got to forget about other people, man. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't worry about what other people think. Just do what you got to do to hit your
And
goals.
back to like what he said before, be the person that tries hard.
Yeah.
You know,
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It is really
It's
cool.
not even kind of
Yeah.
cool.
exactly.
The rewards make it worth it, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, as especially for young kids, I think as you age, you learn to respect that more. People who are just kind of locked in and focused on what
Yeah.
they want, not instead of what other people tell them they
Exactly.
should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I got a few college athletes right now that are really setting themselves apart, and they are the ones that are in the cafeteria eating certain foods and meal prepping and getting to the gym early. And it's hard to dispute it when that athlete's playing the most minutes in a game, scoring the most points, and just dominating. So as far as like being judged, yeah, if you're going to judge me for being the best person out here, best athlete out here, cool. I'll take that all day.
take it.
Go ahead.
You know? And that's what I always, told athletes that I had back home, man. Like, so you keep doing what you're doing. Somebody on your team, you're going to influence somebody, whether you talk to them or not. They're going to see how you walk on the bus. They're going to see when the game's over. I had an athlete won a state title in wrestling, right? Kid won a state title, walks off the mat. I watched him do this. It was awesome. And this is who he was. Went right to his duffel bag, grabbed his protein shake, sat down and drank it. He just the biggest moment of his high school career. And every colleges all over the arena, like it's almost like instant. You're a Division I athlete. You just won a state title in New York. Your money. Kid just did what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Incredible.
And it's like I want to be a state champ. I want to be a state champ. Well, that kid did too, and he just showed you that the daily habits. It's like Scotty Scheffler saying, like, you celebrate for like what, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And then it's back to
right back to work.
That's, so yeah, man, it's crazy when people say they want to get somewhere and then they just don't. I don't want to say they don't understand how to do it. They just need the guidance. And that's where you get the rare ones that will stay with you and stay with you for a very long time and get that guidance to level them up, whether it's their sport or just life.
That's it. Yeah. That's why they say fall in love with the process, right? It's like if you just love doing all the things that get you to that level, like you're going to get to that level. Like there's no question. You start to love going to bed early, waking up early, getting your workout in early, getting your meals in. You start to love feeling good too, because doing all that stuff makes your body feel better. It makes you, you just feel sharper, more clear. And then that's it. You just start to hit these high levels that other people aren't going to hit because they're not going to do those things. They love the win, and the win's not coming without loving the process.
Right. And that's where you have, like, I mean, again, I don't know how much of a youth market you guys are at, like real young, but how many like parents are like, oh, we're going to the championship. We're going to the chip. It's
Yeah.
just
Go
like,
and get the chip.
Dude, you know what really built athletes back in the day? My driveway built me as an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not weekend tournaments. Like my parents weren't sending me that stuff. It was get out in the driveway and play basketball against your brother, and then play basketball against your neighbors, and go in the cul-de-sac and play football. And it's reps.
Yeah. Get your butt whooped sometimes.
Oh, absolutely get your ass kicked. That's the best thing for you.
Yeah.
100%.
Same thing with training. Like you have a good workout and it's, like we were talking about before, and you don't reinvent the wheel, and you have a kid do push-ups and pull-ups, and then 45 minutes later, and I love doing this too with athletes because that's like session number 2 for me. I'll be like, hey man, we got like 75 push-ups in. When's the last time you did 75 push-ups in 40 minutes?
Never.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're welcome, because I just did, like I'll have them do, let's say I have them do, I don't know, 12 sets in a workout, and it's like 8 push-ups per set.
Yeah.
It's not 1,000.
Yeah.
But they're in uncharted territory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're just in new territory, and that's going to push them to make gains.
Yeah. But that's where, like, you take that same family or that same kid, and it's just like, well, what's Mike Trout do? Mike Trout is a grown-ass man.
Right.
Who is a phenom.
Yeah.
That's where, like, going back to like the social media and the noise and the, that's really what
You're not him.
Right. You could be him.
Yep. You could be him. How about what did he do when he was your age? Might be a better question.
Yeah. He played, and he probably swung a bat in his backyard rather than going to 4 baseball games in a weekend, and he got 7 at bats.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a unique area where if you guys can, master that territory and get your points across and more point of view to youth travel programs and things like that. I mean,
that's tough, man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we talk about this all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of why we do stuff like this. Like, hopefully this stuff gets out and it's like, hey, do you hear us?
There are more people talking
Um,
about it, and what's really cool is a lot of pro athletes are talking about it more.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
like
good.
play multiple sports,
That's
but
what
you
we
know,
need.
I do think that unfortunately, like our side of things, it's still almost looked at as like, oh, it's going to stunt his growth or whatever.
Yeah. Whatever BS is out there. Yeah.
Yeah, because essentially these kids don't do gym class the like how it used to be back in the day with like calisthenics
Yeah.
and things like that. So I don't want to say we're almost like glorified gym classes,
Hmm.
Yeah.
but for a youth athlete that to come into our worlds, it could be where you're building that foundation and that base. That's
I
only
agree
going
with
to
that.
help them later on. I'll always stick by this. A lot of guys that I trained from the years of 9 years old to 21, those were the D1 guys.
Mhm.
You know, like those were the guys that actually went on to go to these Penn States
Hmm.
and like wrestle at Penn State.
Yeah.
You know?
Insane. In a room with 10 national champions.
Yeah. And you know what? Even that. And when we talk about, you know, thinking back about guys that didn't maximize their stuff, those are the ones where like I feel like I could have done more,
Yeah.
Mm.
You
you
always
know?
do.
So, but it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. I will say, and you guys will like this. You mentioned the gym class and the calisthenics and stuff. I had the opportunity at Cortland to be in around a lot of great young phys ed teachers. I really think there's a resurgence of, where they're or at least the younger generation is getting back to, really trying to push the kids in the direction of building their movement skills, getting them playing, getting them competitive. So I think we have that to look forward to. I think there's a lot of young phys ed teachers that are going to push the kids in the right direction.
That's
Mhm.
exciting. I was actually thinking about maybe Kyle will be one of those in the future.
That's the
We'll see
plan.
what happens.
It's an
Yeah.
important job.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Important job. And I'm working in a school right now, and the impact and the influence that, you know, I'm in an elementary school and I see it, you know, like there's definitely a lack of that stuff. And if it makes a comeback, I mean,
Yeah.
the childhood obesity rate in our country is insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
If it makes a
That-
comeback, then we all need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. That, from the physical standpoint and also from the standpoint of just having some positive leadership for these kids, especially I think there's a, from when I was working at the high school, I think there's a significant lack of positive male role models especially for young guys to kind of lead them in the right direction. So taking that responsibility real serious. And I think we got some people coming up that are motivated to do that.
Well, that's where I think where you guys are at now. Like that was always one of the biggest compliments to me was like, you know, having parents just say like, you're such a mentor,
Yeah.
you know, to our
Mhm.
son, to our daughter. Um, you know, like you're more than just a coach of like coaching reps and breathing and cues. You know, sometimes you got to sit back and remember that, you know, because you could be the best part of that kid's day. Because if you think about it, like, and again, just seeing how schools operate, kids don't interact anymore, man. They don't like talk to each other. Like if you drive by a bus, how many kids have headphones on and they're just kind of like in their phone, you know? So like to have that connection socially and like the environment that you guys are building at the gym, you know, I mean, that environment is sweet, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's literally like a home like family vibe. Like they probably look forward to the guys they train with and seeing different faces come into the gym. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And that's like you guys are creating an awesome culture, and I love it that you're still right in that same spot, Rob, because like I feel like a little part of Believe is still alive
Yeah. Definitely, man.
because me and you had the same mindset of like I want this place to be a place that people want to come, grow, enjoy it, and you know, like I think you guys are doing an awesome job. I love seeing when you bring in the new coaches, and you got, I saw that you got that one girl coming in to do what do you got, Pilates or something going on, or yoga?
Yeah, for a little bit, but yeah, she's pregnant though, so we had to cut that
Hey,
out,
well,
unfortunately. But yeah, but it's good stuff. She was great. She would have been
yeah,
here with us if she was still here. But
yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's
that's
awesome,
super
dude.
good.
You're bringing a lot you're bringing a lot of health and fitness into an area that needs it.
That's the goal, man. I
100%.
appreciate it. Definitely a lot of
But
stuff was inspired by you as well, as you know. But yeah, it's good to be there.
yes, sir.
Yeah, man. All right, I don't know. Anybody got any final thoughts or final questions? We probably maybe hit one more quick point, and then I think that might be it.
We wanted to know what are some of the different perspectives you look at it from when you're training an athlete who's super tall? Because I know you've worked with some guys that are 6.5 feet plus 7 feet, What are some differences?
Yeah, well, make sure they duck when they come into your place.
Yeah.
Really, I would say one of the biggest differences, I never loaded their spines, so no back squatting. Also because I couldn't, get
Spot them.
up there to make that work.
Yeah.
Always elevated the deadlifts for them. Primarily those were my basketball guys. So I did work. I had 2 7-footers that I worked with. And then here we had a kid who's 6'10". So the big guys, it was more or less like find the correct angle for where they can position their body properly.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a lot of mobility and single leg joint work, like just things that those dudes are just prone to, a lot of foot issues, a lot of ankle. So it was just really focused on movement quality, but I still wanted them lifting heavy.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like, I mean, Mike Toby has the biggest deadlift I've ever seen in an athlete. Mike's 7'1". He deadlifted, I think, almost 700 pounds in my gym.
Wow.
Nice.
Damn.
That's nuts.
It's a big pull.
He did it elevated off of, I think we had I want to say maybe 345s on each side.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you see a dude that big, it's like,
Yeah.
it would basically be like me putting the bar down normal for myself.
Yeah.
And he's putting a lot of force into the ground, man.
Yeah. And then Mike also introduced me to a lot of awesome moves, because Mike went to the University of Virginia, and Virginia's strength coach was one of the best in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So he introduced me to a lot of kettlebell halos,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of bottoms up kettlebell pressing,
Love that stuff.
which is bottoms up kettlebell pressing is ridiculously hard.
So hard. I was doing those today, man. Every Wednesday I do those right now.
Dude,
Yeah.
he was doing it with a 45-pound kettlebell, and I was like,
Nice.
let me try that.
Yeah.
I grabbed it. I'm like, whoa. But,
Yeah.
so he introduced me to some really cool moves. And again, you start to realize, man, some of these high level coaches, even the guys I worked with at the UFC, they were movements and exercises kind of catering to the athlete that can handle it.
Of course. Yeah.
And that's where I think there's a huge gap for the average high school kid,
Mm.
to just go into the gym by themselves, and not even high school kid, even middle school, because now that is becoming a thing, these travel programs are getting, Rob, I think you're working with a group, aren't you? Don't you have a spot that you're doing conditioning or something?
Yeah. We're gonna be doing baseball conditioning soon. We didn't open up yet. He's opening up this month, December, January, something like that. We'll be running. But yeah.
Think about those kids, they need workouts that cater to them at that age and what they can handle.
Yeah.
So yeah, the big guys was the same thing, and not for nothing, man. One of those 7-footers that I have never lifted a weight in his life.
Wow.
So when I first got him, it was like, let's see if you can stand on one leg for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And he couldn't.
Get real basic.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was like, all right, take a knee. Let's work on mobility. Let's see where we're at, and if you saw that kid, when that kid walked into my facility, I was like, holy shit. Kid was a freak. 19 years old, shredded.
Really? Never lifted a weight in his life?
Nope.
19 years old. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Nuts. And as soon as he picked up a weight, you saw it's like, oh shit, he doesn't have a clue,
Yeah.
But again, then you see that it's just that kid was blessed with the physique, the height, and now,
Yep. Genetics, and now let's build on it.
Yeah. And that's where like every now and then you might have one of those freak kids come into your facility, like a middle school kid where you're like, damn,
Yeah.
and if they do it right, man, they'll get to that high level,
Yeah.
Totally.
or they'll just tap out by the time they hit high school because they were an awesome middle school athlete and then they just faded away.
Yep. They burnt out too early or something, but you just reminded me of something too with just the kids and tailoring workouts to them. Like so we had somebody bring in, I trained this one mom, her kid's an athlete, high school. He comes in for a workout with her because she wants him to train at the gym. And he's just like, he's smoked. Like all of a sudden I look over, his face is white. And I'm like, you need to go sit down. I was like, cut it. And I'm just like, and she's like, oh, he works out on his own. And it's like, you hear this from a few parents. They work out on their own. It's like they're doing good things. It's like, yeah, they don't really know what they're doing. Like they have no idea what they're doing. They think they're working hard. They're like, same, like you're talking about, they're on their phones. They're like flexing in the mirror. It's like a 45-minute workout takes them 2 hours. Like they don't know how to push themselves. They don't know how to, it's just, they're missing out on so much if they're just trying to figure it out.
So much. And that's where like you guys, again, like you're a professional coach.
Yeah.
You're a certified fitness professional. So like you give me an hour, I'm going to have you physically and mentally prepared to do a workout in 30 to 35 minutes because the workout's not an hour.
Yeah.
And we also have to stretch,
Mhm.
So how long are we really working out for? But it's also specific time intervals, specific rest periods. And then you hit that kid with, what'd you eat today, bro?
Mhm.
So, it's that. I think it's great that you bring the parent in and you have the kid working out together.
Yeah, that was great. She brought him in. She works out with me and wants him to work out too. And she like destroyed him in the workout. And I was like, this is great. Mom is killing this kid right now. He's 15 years old.
That's a wake-up
She's
call.
50 or 48, whatever she is. I was like, oh man. Oh, that's great.
Everything you just said is spot on, man. And that's what I say when I have athletes come in to do consultations. I don't know. Do you still do consultations? And all
Yeah,
that?
of course. Got to. Yeah.
So I do a grading system. So I'll pick like five topics like nutrition, schoolwork, the sport that they play, sleep, and let's say hydration, right? And I
Mhm.
say, hey, give me a grade for yourself from 1 to 10.
Love that.
And I
That's
say,
great.
one is not good at all, clearly. 10 is elite. 10 is phenomenal.
Mhm.
And we just grade them, and parents stand right there, and we go through the grading system. And usually nutrition is 5 or less.
Yep.
And I just say, if you got your nutrition to a 7.5 or an 8, which is what our goal would be, because realistically, you're not going to be that 10. I don't need you to
10.
be.
Yeah.
But if you got that higher, guarantee you your progress and your performance and your practices would be better. Your schoolwork would 1,000 times be better. Then your sleep would get better.
Mhm.
And I just lay it out like that.
Builds
And I
everything up.
basically, and then I ask them too, how many calories a day do you eat? And they look around the room and they're like, and I'm like, you're guessing. You're guessing on your calories, but you're not guessing that you shot 100 jump shots in the gym. And you know what I mean? And then you start breaking it to that point.
Yep.
And sometimes the parents buy into that, which is unfortunate that it's not all the time
All the
because it's
time,
very
yeah.
frustrating. It's very
Yeah.
frustrating to talk about that. And then they just kind of say, well, we'll sign up for 40 sessions with you.
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll
Cool.
see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
40 sessions is 40 hours.
Yeah, I just remembered you had or you have a book. You have the workbook with the grading system. I still have that on my laptop.
I do have that.
Yeah. What was it called again? Can people still get it?
I have
Amazon,
PDF
right?
copies of it. It used to be on Amazon. I took it
Okay.
down.
Gotcha.
It's called The Unbeatable Mind.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
still have that on my laptop.
Yeah. I made
Yep.
it part of my so I have 3 different packages I offer. So I have like mindset development, and then I have like strength and performance training, and then I have nutritional coaching.
Yeah.
So I made that packet part of that. That's why I took it off Amazon.
Oh, sweet.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
But, I mean,
benefits to be had.
It's just that it's the accountability, like
Yeah.
grade yourself and be honest with your grade because you should be trying to get your grade up, and
Yep.
if you get the grade up, like I said, we don't need to be perfect, but if you get that up, man, you're going to see those changes, those results.
Without a doubt.
Very
man.
cool. Very cool.
Yep. It's a beautiful stopping point. All right. Coach, pleasure chatting with you. Time
Yes,
flew
pleasure.
by as we knew it would. We probably could have done 2-3 hours, I'm sure. But yeah, thanks a lot, Coach JR. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, man. Great to talk to you. Great to see you.
Yes, pleasure.
Likewise, guys. Looking forward to hearing more of these podcasts, and maybe I'll get on another day and we'll chat it up some more. But keep doing what you're doing, man. You guys are doing a great job.
Appreciate it, Coach. Yeah, we definitely would love to have you back too. And everybody else, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, follow us, comment. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions for Coach JR, put them in the comments. We'll get them to him, or for any of us, and we'll get back to you. All right. Thanks, guys.